If I can steal 5 minutes of your time, I'm going to give you four strategies to think about to defeat the all or nothing mindset. Now, this was the most popular hurdle that everyone voted on. And like I said, we're going to be doing some free resources for you guys to go over how to conquer all of the hurdles that you laid out as far as your nutrition goals and your weight loss goals. So when it comes to the all or nothing mindset, the number one thing that you have to remember every time you're hit with this sort of dilemma or this sort of behavior, you want to first remember that this is a made up story that you've told yourself. It is factually not true. If you refer to yourself as an all or nothing person, what I want you to first do is look across the broad stroke of your entire life, your relationships, career, school, how you are as a parent, right? Are you all or nothing in any of those areas of your life? Really think about that. Like if you have a bad day at work, do you automatically quit your job or do you just no show for a week and then expect to get back on track the next week? If you have a disagreement or a bad day in your marriage, do you automatically jump to divorce? Do you automatically go cheat on your spouse, right? Like is that the sort of behavior that you engage in? Think about your kids. When you have a bad day with your kids or they're just really pissing you off, do you abandon them? Do you stop being their parent? Do you disappear for an entire week and then start back up on Monday, right? Same thing, it goes for even in college, right? Or grade school. When you got a bad grade or you didn't do as well on a test as you thought you would do, did you give up on all of your goals because of that one instance? The answer to most of those questions, I guarantee you, is no. So why is it that you take that approach or that you've created that identity for yourself when it comes to weight loss? The truth is that you don't actually believe that there's another side to this equation. You've lived for a long time in your current situation. For some people that may be trying to lose 30, 40, 50, 100 pounds. For other people that may be yo-yoing, maybe they lose 20, they gain back 20, and they've just experienced that behavior their entire life. So the problem here is not that you're an all or nothing person, because factually you're not. You've just told yourself that story when it comes to weight loss and your nutrition because you just don't believe that you can adhere to it or that you can stick to it, that you can become the fit, lean person that you're trying to become. So that's issue number one. And how to solve that is you have to work on disproving that belief. And you do that not through affirmations, not through journaling. It's through keeping promises to yourself through getting daily wins. So you have to start simplifying the process and actually acknowledging every single win you have. Every time you check off a box, you say, I accomplished that goal. Even something as small as I'm going to have a glass of water in the morning when I wake up. When you do that, you actually make a deposit in your confidence bank account and you build up that confidence. And the more you do that, the more you repeat that step, the more confidence you build, and it makes the process easier. And you're going to be less likely to quit on the one day that something went wrong. Because again, you're tracking all of these wins. So if you have 21 wins by the end of the week, and you have that one meal or that one workout that you either skipped or you had like a food that you thought you weren't supposed to eat, right? You're going to be able to look back on all these other wins. And you could do this, mentally, but for a lot of people, what works is just having a calendar, right? Just check off each day. I hit my protein, I ate my meals, I did my workout. And at the end of the week, count up all those wins and stack up those wins and build up that self confidence. All right. Step number two is you're going to make sure that you're making the process as easily attainable as possible. A big problem with the all or nothing approach is that you think you need to be all in to see results. And the truth is, you don't. You need to be like 80% in. So I want you to think about this from the perspective of, what can I do realistically for the next 6 months at about 80% consistency? So what does that look like? 5 to 6 days out of the week, what can you realistically do? And if you're going to tell yourself that you're going to cut carbs or you're going to fast or you're not going to drink alcohol or you're going to stay completely away from sugar, it's probably not realistic. You probably can't hit that 90% of the time, right? So start making the process easier. Start with two things. What are two things that you know that you could do every single day for the next 6 months? And it might be something as simple as having a glass of water when you wake up, eating protein at each meal, having 2 servings of fruit a day. Simplify it down. Stop trying to do everything all at once because you do not need to be all in to see results. You need to be consistent with small little behaviors. So narrow this shit down. Narrow it down to two things that you know you can be consistent with for at least the next 2 weeks. and just stacked out those wins over and over and over again every single day. And if at the end of 14 days, if you have 12 days of consistency, you can look back and go, wow, it's 12 versus 2. It's just a numbers game, right? And then it takes away that all or nothing approach because you're seeing this massive amount of wins. Think about like a sports game. If you're up by 5, right? Does it matter if you win by 5 or win by 30, or does it matter that you win? It's not an all or nothing thing, right? Step number 3 is you're going to want to make sure that you are really paying attention to basic common sense here. I know it's kind of piggybacks off of the last 2 things I said, but basic common sense. Like, again, you're not an all or nothing person. You know, one meal isn't going to completely throw you off. If the process is made easy and it's attainable and you're actually checking those boxes every day, how much do you think that one, off track meal is really going to matter? You got to get out of this whole off track, on track mindset and just pay attention to what are you doing most of the time. I want you to think about, I use this analogy of traffic on the highway. Let's pretend you bought a new house in a new state and you're driving there, right? If you hit traffic on the way, remember you sold your old house, you're starting a new job in a new state, you have a new house that you're going to. If you hit traffic on the way there, or if you got a flat tire, would you close up shop? Would you turn around and go home and bail on your new house, bail on your new job? Or would you just ride through that hurdle and keep going? Because if the answer is, oh, I would just keep going, I would call AAA, or I would stop, wait out the traffic, then you're not an all or nothing person. The difference is that you don't believe that you can get to the other side. So we need to build up that self-belief by making the process easily attainable, right? And then stacking those wins. And every time you stack those wins, every week that goes by, every month that goes by, you're going to be more confident. You're going to be able to take on more of a challenge. And that's how you actually get progressively better. And the last thing that you want to focus on, honestly, guys, is you got to get some fucking help. If you identify yourself as an all or nothing person, if you have a pattern of making the process harder than it needs to be, and to the point where you don't even pay attention to basic logic and you quit on yourself, you need to have someone who is just as bought into the process as you. So you need to get help. This is the one area of life where if you improve this area of life, meaning your health, your fitness, your confidence, it will make everything in your life better. Better relationships, you'll make more money, you'll extend the lifespan that you have, and you also make those years more enjoyable. This is literally the only thing that will, bleed into all those areas of life in a positive way. On the flip side, if you're not confident, you're not taking care of your health, and you're not taking care of your fitness, it's going to bleed into all those areas of your life in a negative way. So if this stuff is actually important to you, you also need to get help because you can't do it on your own, right? You've proven to yourself over and over again that you've identified as an all or nothing person, that you make the process harder than it needs to be. Get someone to simplify it for you. And that's my last piece of advice. So I hope this is helpful, guys. Really pay attention to this. Take this stuff in, process it. Drop some comments if you have any questions at all.